Hey Canucks fans, there's trade talk, there's free agent speculation, there's expansion draft considerations. Let's break it all down the day before the Canucks have to submit their protected list. I'm Canuck Clay. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Friday, July the 16th. Subscribe now for Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. There's so much going on. Speculation, rumors, talk. Let's talk about it all because tomorrow, Saturday, July 17th, the Canucks have to, like every other team, they have to submit their protected list to the NHL for the expansion draft for the Seattle Kraken, which is taking place on Wednesday, July the 21st. Then there's a few days of a trade freeze, roster freeze, so you can't do much between the 17th and the 21st. So that's why there's so many rumors right now about what the Canucks can do prior to tomorrow, and then what they certainly can still do after the expansion draft. So let's kind of break it down into the expansion draft itself. Let's talk about trade rumors, contract extensions, buyouts, and then kind of wrap it all up at the end. So expansion draft. It sounds like that I've been wrong. I've been saying that Matthew Hyman is going to be the seventh Canuck forward protected. All accounts now, and a lot of the things I'm going to talk about today are drawn from a great article by Thomas Drance and Rick Dollywell, two of the most connected guys here in local media. Their article in The Athletic this morning, breaking all this down. So the speculation out there now is that Cole Lind, our second-round draft pick from a few years ago, that he will be our seventh forward. So, of course, it's the big four, Pettersson, Horvat, Boeser, and Miller. Then you have Pearson and Mott as 5 and 6. And then I've been saying Matthew Highmore, but it sounds like more and more it's going to be Cole Lind, homegrown draft pick. Don't want to give up on him just yet. So that means notable forwards up front to be exposed will be Matthew Highmore, Zach McEwen, and Jonah Gadjevich. On the blue line, we know it's going to be Schmidt, Myers, and Schmidt, Myers, and Juolevi. And then on the in net, it's going to be, of course, Thatcher Demko. And I'll get to those defense and goaltending in a second. So that's the first thing. Cole Lind over Matthew Highmore as likely the seventh protected forward. Now, if the Canucks make a trade to bring in some depth forwards, going after a team using their expansion draft leverage, their position to go after a team that might have trouble protecting all the forwards or D they want to, then of course Cole Lind may get bumped out of that spot. But as of now, he is likely going to be the seventh forward protected. Let's talk about Braden Holtby, because we're talking about the expansion draft. You guys know, and I've talked about this recently as 2 days ago or yesterday, I've gone back and forth on Braden Holtby to the Seattle Kraken. I thought it was a done deal as soon as we signed Holtby last summer, or last fall. Then I thought maybe as his poor play continued throughout the season that he was going to be less and less of a candidate, a target for the Seattle Kraken. But I'm hearing more and more that the interest from the Kraken has indeed picked up a bit. A lot of considerations. We've talked about them before. The fact that Holtby is 4.3 on the salary cap, but technically owed 5.7 in cash because of the way his contract was backloaded. Obviously, if you're the Vancouver Canucks, you would love for Holtby to be picked in the expansion draft. You would love for to find a trade partner for Holtby, even if it means retaining a bit of salary, because those two options are better than a buyout. A buyout, yes, it's guaranteed, but then you're extending the effective Holtby contract for another year. Instead of being off the books this year, it's now on the books for 2 more years. So that's something to consider. Something to pay attention to is the talk around Braden Holtby. Of course, we can't talk about buyouts without talking about Jake Virtanen. Remember, the buyout window doesn't close until July 27, the day before free agency. So the longer you wait for a buyout, technically it's the better, because you never know, you might find a trade partner as opposed to having to buy out someone, still be on the hook for some of the salary, and then extending the length of how long you're on the hook for some of that salary. So I've always talked about Jake Virtanen being the best candidate because of his young age. Then you have Braden Holtby as your second best candidate, and there's some chatter about Antoine Roussel perhaps being a candidate as well, although the cap savings isn't that great. So I'm not sure how much we should put into that. Okay, so we talked about the expansion draft. We talked about the buyouts. Let's talk about potential free agents. The two big names that came out, these are free agents that the Canucks, that currently aren't on the Canucks right now. The two names that came out yesterday were Zach Hyman and Jaden Schwartz. Zach Hyman, if he wants 6, 7, or 8 years, that scares me. He's already 29 years old. We know what happened in the summer of 2016 when guys like Okposo, Ladd, Nielsen, Eriksson, Lucic, they were all signed to those 5 or 6 or 7 year contracts, and none of them have aged well. You don't want to do that with Zach Hyman, as much as he'd be an upgrade in your middle six. So stay away from the 6, 7 year contract, even the 8 year if you trade for his rights. I would I'd go no more than 3 or 4. Hyman might not like that. So it was interesting when I heard that at least the Canucks were one of the front runners, so to speak, to at least interested in Zach Hyman, but I certainly don't want to be paying him any more than 3 or 4 seasons. So we'll see if that goes anywhere. The other name I heard, the name I like better is actually Jaden Schwartz. I've always liked Jaden Schwartz. A little bit injury prone, a bit different player than Hyman. Maybe not as good two-way, but still good offensive talent. So I like Jaden Schwartz. He's also the same age, 29 years old, but I'm not sure if he's demanding a 6 or 7 or 8 year deal. So maybe Jaden Schwartz is someone that the Canucks will continue to kick tires on, another upgrade in their middle six. So those are the UFAs that don't play for the Canucks right now, or didn't play for the Canucks this season or last season. Of course, the big 3 UFAs that I hinted at yesterday: Sutter likely on his way out, and then Alex Edler and Travis Hamonic. It sounds like contract talks are progressing more strongly with Alex Edler than they are with Travis Hamonic. Although you'd argue Travis Hamonic may be the more valuable player as a sturdy right shot defenseman. I want them both back on the proper term, proper money. But as I talked about yesterday, then really you're bringing back the exact same decor with the exception of Rathbone in for Jordy Ben. Although I think that's a big upgrade already, and it'll be even a bigger upgrade as this season progresses. So again, more positive talks with Edler, maybe talk of a hometown discount, whereas Travis Hamonic doesn't really owe that to the team. So we'll see where that goes. I mentioned Brandon Sutter likely leaving the club, so that means there is a hole at third line center. I've talked about you want to see, I wouldn't mind seeing Travis Boyd get a shot there, but I think the Canucks are aiming a little bit higher than that. They were rumored to be in on Nick Bjugstad, who signed already. So now they're still looking for, as we've heard, a third line center with heft, a bit of size, harder to play against kind of thing, take up more room in the middle of the ice. Lastly, trade rumors. Now, we've been talking about Nate Schmidt for the past 2 weeks or so. Still a lot of people think that is going to happen. It might not happen right now, but that they're going to explore that for Nate Schmidt. I'm still hopeful. I really like him. I had high hopes for him when he came to this team in October, and I still have high hopes for him. It's only been 1 season. He still has 4 more left on his contract. Let's see what he can do in a quote regular season, a normal season, and I don't want the Canucks to give up on him so quickly. The other name that's in the news right now and in the rumor mill it happens every year, is Brock Boeser. And I think I'm going to use Brock Boeser as my thumbnail, as my title, and I'm trying not to be too clickbaity. That's not my thing, but it was a serious point of talk yesterday in the Canucks market. And let's be very clear, the Canucks aren't actively shopping Brock Boeser. They're not putting Boeser's name out and saying, hey, would anyone like this? What would you give us in return? But you can't help it if other teams are calling about Boeser. And I think here's the difference. Sure, teams might be calling about Pettersson and Hughes, kind of sending their feelers out. Are they going to offer sheet Pettersson, which is very unlikely? But that conversation stops 2 seconds in. The Canucks are not going to part with either Pettersson or Hughes. Whereas with Brock Boeser, it might not be as automatic. Is he a trade chip you could use to get a top 4 D-man back if you think you're going to lose Edler, Hamonic, and Schmidt, which is pretty crazy? So I can see, and then of course Brock Boeser's contract expires after next year, $7.5 million qualifying offer all ready to start. So there's a lot of things that you have to consider. I like Boeser. He's one of my 3 or 4 favorite players on this team. I think if you lose him, then you're losing a top winger, a top line winger, not just a middle six, but a top line winger. So it's not as simple as saying, yeah, we'll put Brock Boeser on the trade block, so to speak. So again, what I'm saying is people are saying that teams may be calling about Boeser, but the Canucks are not actively shopping him. I mentioned Pettersson and Hughes, those contracts still ongoing. Likely for me, they're probably going to take a back seat to the expansion draft for the next week or so. But maybe they get announced between July the 21st and July the 28th. That way you avoid the risk of Pettersson being offer sheeted, which again, I still think is unlikely. Well, hey, Canucks fans, there's a lot there. There's a lot there between the expansion draft, Cole Lind, between Braden Holtby, interest in him, between buyouts, Virtanen, Holtby, Roussel, between interest in free agents, Hyman, Schwartz, interest in re-signing our own free agents, or not, Edler, Hamonic, Sutter, trade rumors, Schmidt, Boeser, contracts, Pettersson, Hughes. And I didn't talk about free agency, and that happens on the 28th, but it seems like that's a little while away. We still have 2 weeks for that. So Canucks fans, which players, which issues, which talks, which considerations are up front for you, are top of mind for you, are the ones, which issues, what storylines are you going to be paying attention to over the next few days, and especially in the next 24 hours before the Canucks have to submit their protected list. Leave a comment below. I love to read, react, and reply. As always, I appreciate your loyalty. I appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos. Shout out to my Hall of Fame members, Jens95, Sim Alexander, Justin Credible, Nux fan number 29, Lucas Gates, Chris Seifert, Adam Broomfield, Shea Family Channel, Jamie Sports Talk and More, Shannon Hollingworth, and Andrew Chang. Thanks for your support as always, and thanks to the support of all members of all levels. If you want to become a member of the CCC Crew, press the join button underneath this or under my videos or on the memberships tab on my YouTube channel. Wow, a lot there, a lot to talk about. It's going to be exciting next few weeks for the Vancouver Canucks, maybe an exciting next 24 hours. We shall see. I'll be back to break any news, or at least provide commentary. I might not be the one breaking the news. You know what I mean. You know what I do here, and I appreciate you for that. Subscribe if you'd like to. Like this video if you'd like to. Become a member of this channel if you'd like to. And leave a comment if you'd like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.